Steve Morgan, the 2015 AFTA trade show on the Gold Coast, one of the best things about AFTA is you get to catch up with some industry legends, and I think every single person in Australia that's aspired to own a fantastic fishing rod over the years knows the name Loomis. In fact, the Loomis brand came into Australia over 20 years ago, and we've managed to track down on the Fish Tech Solutions stand Gary Loomis. And Gary, you've been to Australia a few times now, and how does it feel to be the iconic name of rods in Australia?
Well, it's wonderful, but it's really wonderful to be back in Australia. Probably one of the only countries in the world I feel like at home when I come here, because it's just like America. So I really love it here.
Australians and Americans do have a great rapport, and I remember the first time that your rods came to the country when EJ Todd's brought them in. We were fishing with usually short fiberglass rods. We're fishing with the nylon monofilament line, and all of a sudden, out of America came these rods where they were so light in your hand they felt they could nearly float away, and it totally changed our perception of fishing. And it also made us think that you had to spend more than $100 on a fishing rod. So obviously the technology behind what you do has come to the forefront. There's been a lot of imitators over the years, and there's been a lot of people that have followed in your footsteps over the years. But your philosophy towards rod building, what got you on the pathway, and what technologies did you use to bring that lightness and that sensitivity to fishing rods?
Well, overall, I'm a fisherman.
Yeah.
And so being a fisherman and a machinist by trade, I can make a better one. And a lot of these people think I made them for them. I really made them for me. I wanted to catch more fish. I wanted a better rod, and I happened to be at the right place at the right time. And got in with the aerospace engineers from Boeing's and Sandia, Los Alamos Lab, Fermilab during their development of composites. And so I was able to advance very rapidly through that. And then there was about a 10-year period that Boeing's did a lot of engineering and designing, which I was there, but they didn't do any manufacturing. And the reason is if something should happen and a rod breaks, I make another one. If a wing falls off an airplane, they're in trouble.
That's serious.
So after about 10 years of it and stuff, when they started into manufacturing, I'd been 10 years into manufacturing, so I just fit right in to help them and did the tubes for the 777 and Reagan Star War tubes and all of this type of stuff. So I was right at the very beginning of the composites, and I was interested in them, and a fisherman, and it just kind of all came together to make a performance rod. This is really a tool, and that tool has to do the job correctly, and if it does the job correctly, the fishermen know when it does the job correctly.
Yep.
And weight is a deterrent to performance. So anytime you can get a material that is stiffer and stronger per weight, we can reduce the weight of the blank overall, and that turns around and makes a better performing rod.
Now, your experiences in Australia, you've been here a few times. What was your first fishing experience in Australia, and how did you like it?
I loved it.
Where was it?
Barramundi up on Barra Base, and we fished up there, the Rain Tree, and I probably told the story. Now it's been 25 years ago, probably about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed them, the way they exploded on the bait. And I really like that threadfin salmon too.
Yeah, they've got a turn of speed, haven't they?
Yeah, I tell you what, I like when you get them back, your lure looks like it's been chomped by a and hit with a bit of sandpaper. That's right. So I had a great time, and I really like it here.
Now, the brand that you're working on now, that you're bringing in with the Fish Tech Solutions guy, is called Edge Rods. Anyone who picks up an Edge Rod in a tackle store will feel like the thing's nearly going to float away with it. So even though 25 years ago you brought in these rods that were like an order of magnitude lighter and better performance than what we had, it seems like these Edge Rods are just lifting the bar again and again. The question I have for you is, Australians really like their finesse fishing, they really like their braid. How are you going to advance from the Edge Rods upwards? Is there like this asymptote where it's going to hit and you can't go any higher?
No, you can always go higher. I mean, when we did the first G Loomis rods, we thought, what a pinnacle of performance. And I sold G Loomis in 1995. I had prostate cancer. Mm-hmm. I took the cure. The PSA went up. They gave me 18 months to live. So my accountant said, if you want anything for the wife and the family, you better sell it while you're alive. So I sold the golf division, Atlantic Salmon Camp in Russia, Gun Barrel Company, and G. Loomis. But seeing as I only sold it because of that, I stayed with them for 12 years.
Yep.
During that 12 years, they kind of put me ahead of sales instead of R&D and development, which is what built the company. And I seen all these new things for that 12-year period come by, and I mean, I'm trying to reach out, and they slap my hand. And so it's just 12 more years of higher technology and composites and resin systems and all of this type of stuff. And so I really had a friend that had a brand new magazine in Portland called Salmon Steelhead Journal. And he calls me up one day when I had the plant, and I had the blanks, which was North Fork Composite.
Yes.
That's the main company. And he calls up and he says, I need a rod for a shootout. And I said, wonderful. You know what a shootout is, where all of the different manufacturers send in their rod for a certain thing. And I said, well, that's wonderful, but I don't make rods. No. He says, Gary, I need a rod for my shootout. I said, but okay. So what do you want? Well, we want a rod to fish herring for spring Chinook salmon in the Columbia River. I said, Pat, as far as I know, there's never been a rod designed for that. He says, why do you think I called you? So anyway, he finally talked me into it, and so I made the blank, and then I made the rod, and it was under North Fork Composites because Edge wasn't even started yet. And we put it in the deal. It won, and then in the next year we put 3-4 more in. They all won, and so then everybody calls me up and says, hey, I want one of those rods that was in that deal. I said, well, I don't make rods. So all of a sudden, here come Edge.
Yes, yeah.
So
and you're back in the business.
Back in the business, and I was just lucky enough. I got a tremendous team underneath me now of new young people that are enthusiastic. I'm still pretty enthusiastic at 74, but they're like I was when I was 24, and so it's really fun again. I've retired 5 times, and I think I lasted 6 days one time, and these guys keep dragging me back in, and I guess it's not too hard to drag me back in doing what I really, really love. Yeah,
that's right. And look, it's such a great feeling to pick up the rods in the store, and a lot of people I know walk into a store, they pick one up and they can't help but drop the money on the counter and leave with it. So just to finish off, can you tell us some of the specifics of the rods and why the grips, why the fittings, and why the technology all works so well together?
Well, the first thing that I started as North Fork Composite Blank Company, so I took the newest and latest technology and resin systems and fibers, and these fishermen have changed the way they fish, and they've found other different lures, and this is a tool.
Yep.
And it's got to work correctly. So sometimes we haven't changed them because the actions were perfect, but in some cases we had to change them a little bit to get it to do a little bit more what the fishermen want.
Yep.
I'm a pretty good fisherman, but I'm not the best in the world. But I'm good enough to fish with the best in the world and find out what type of a tool they need to do what they're trying to get done. So anyway, we did the blanks first. Well, then it came to the point of time that the handles really haven't changed over many years, and cork is really a dampener of sensitivity. It's probably one of the best insulators they are on the re-entry capsule. Between the ceramic and the capsule is cork, because they can't find a better material.
Yep.
So I kind of figured it. I want to catch every fish that bites, so I want to feel every bite. So we decided to go to graphite handles, and so this here is about 30% more sensitive, stronger, better in cold and in warm conditions. And another thing is you fish in live bait or bait, and pretty soon your handle smells like your bait bucket.
Yep.
And this here can be cleaned up, and it doesn't absorb anything, and it's, like I said, 30% lighter, and all you got to do is pick one up, and you can tell, because, like I said, weight is a deterrent to performance.
You betcha. Well, Gary, thanks very much for taking the time at the AFTA Trade Show to tell us the story and to tell us the history. And I know all of the viewers in Australia will really connect with your love for the barramundi and the threadfin salmon, because they're an iconic species that if we haven't caught them, we want to catch them. Great to see you at the trade show, and make sure next time you're in a tackle store, you pick up an Edge rod and see if you can walk away without buying it.